My name is Patricia Pat O'Connor, and at 71, I believed I'd honed a deep understanding of family ties through decades of quiet service. For 3 years, I'd poured my heart, soul, and savings into supporting my son Liam and his partner Brooke after Brooke's acting aspirations faltered post-college. They lived in a trendy Brooklyn loft with exposed brick walls and city views, a place I helped secure by paying $900 a month for their rent, funding $7,000 in audition costs, headshots, and acting classes, and sending $400 monthly for groceries, utilities, and the occasional splurge from my 401k. All told, I'd given them over $22,000, a significant portion of the nest egg I'd built shelving books and guiding young minds in New York City libraries for nearly 4 decades. Liam was my beacon, a creative spirit who mirrored my youthful dreams of storytelling, with Brooke as his steadfast companion. She called me Patty, with a warmth that felt like home, and I envisioned a sprawling, loving family that included me. When Liam announced a family reunion in the Hamptons, a lavish affair at a sprawling estate, I was elated. I reserved a spot months in advance, spent $350 on a lavender blouse, a flowing skirt, and a pair of pearl earrings, and set aside a $2,500 gift to help them with a down payment on a bigger place. I even dusted off my grandmother's Irish soda bread recipe, planning to bake it fresh, imagining the scent mingling with the salty Hamptons breeze as we gathered around a bonfire. 2 weeks before the reunion, Brooke called, her voice bright but tinged with hesitation. "Patty, the reunion's going to be selective, just special relatives who fit our vibe." The words hit me like a gust off the East River. Special relatives. I'd paid their rent for 36 months without fail, funded Brooke's every audition tape and callback outfit, and wired $2,000 to cover the reunion's catering and decorations. Yet I wasn't deemed worthy. That night, restless and unable to sleep, I opened Snapchat and saw the truth. Stories of Liam's in-laws dancing on a manicured lawn, cousins toasting with champagne under chandeliers, the Hamptons mansion glowing against the dusk. The caption read, "Reunited with our crew." I wasn't in a single frame, despite my financial lifeline. I sat in my Upper West Side apartment, the blouse hanging unworn in my closet, the soda bread recipe card abandoned on the counter. The betrayal wasn't just exclusion, it was an erasure of my role, a silent judgment that I didn't belong. I cancelled my reservation, tossed the recipe into the recycling bin, and spent the evening staring out at the city lights, tears blurring the skyline. A week later, Liam called, his voice tight with urgency. "Patty, rent's overdue. The landlord's furious. Can you send $900? You missed this month missed." I'd never skipped a payment, forgoing my monthly museum strolls, swapping lattes for instant coffee, and skipping theatre tickets to keep their account flush. "Liam," I said, my voice steady despite the ache in my chest, "I only help those who see me as family." Silence buzzed through the line. "What's that mean?" he stammered, a hint of irritation creeping in. "You know exactly what it means," I replied, and hung up. That day I called my bank and stopped every automatic transfer to their account. My money, my hard-earned security, was mine to hold again. The retaliation was swift and invasive. 10 days later, I returned from a volunteer shift at the library, my arms full of donated books, to find my front door slightly ajar. My pulse quickened as I stepped inside. Liam and Brooke were in my study, sifting through my financial records, my will, my 401k statements, using the spare key I'd given them years ago when trust was unbroken. "What are you doing?" I demanded, my librarian's authority rising like a tide. Liam turned, his face a tangle of guilt and defiance. "Mum, we're worried about you. You're acting off, cutting us off like this." Brooke nodded, stepping aside to reveal a man in a navy suit. "This is Mr. Sullivan, our lawyer," she said, her tone rehearsed. "He's here to help." Mr. Sullivan approached, his smile a polished mask. "Mrs. O'Connor, your son believes you're showing signs of mental decline, paranoia, financial instability. We're here to discuss a conservatorship to protect your interests." My blood ran cold. They weren't just after my money, they wanted to strip my autonomy, to cage me in their narrative. "Get out," I said, pointing to the door with a trembling finger. "Now." Liam's eyes widened. "Mum, you're not thinking clearly." "Let us help," I raised my voice, channeling years of shushing rowdy patrons. "Out, or I call the police." They left, but Sullivan's parting shot echoed. "This isn't over, Mrs. O'Connor." Sleep eluded me that night, the violation gnawing at my core. My own son, plotting to confine me to their control. I called my book club friend Margaret, who'd endured a similar betrayal by her own. Sleep eluded me that night, the violation gnawing at my core. My own son plotting to confine me to their control. I called my book club friend Margaret, who'd endured a similar betrayal by her own kin. Over a cup of chamomile tea, she recommended a New York City elder law attorney, Rachel Goldman. The next day, I sat in Rachel's sunlit office, unspooling the story. $22,000 in aid, the reunion snub, the break-in. "Pat, this is elder financial abuse," Rachel said, her tone firm and unwavering. "It's illegal under federal law, and we'll fight it with everything we've got." Rachel helped me gather a mountain of evidence. Bank records detailing $22,000 in payments, receipts for audition costs and furniture, a folder of texts from Liam begging for emergency cash with increasing urgency. I installed security cameras around my apartment, with Margaret, Clara, Susan and Joan from my book club as witnesses to my sharp mind and steady hands. Rachel arranged a psychiatrist, Dr. Lee, who conducted a thorough evaluation and confirmed my cognitive health was exceptional for 71, noting my active engagement in community life. I opened a new account at a different bank, a small act of rebellion that felt like reclaiming my soul. But they pressed on with relentless determination. A month later, an adult protective services worker, Ms. Chen, appeared at my door, her clipboard in hand. "Mrs. O'Connor, we've had reports of paranoia, security cameras, cutting off family support, hoarding medications." The accusations bore Brooke's manipulative fingerprints. They'd forged claims of unpaid bills, my rent and utilities were current, stockpiling supplements, I took none, and even suggested I'd neglected my health, a lie as my VA checkups were regular. I called Rachel, who rushed over with a briefcase full of documents. "This is harassment," she told Ms. Chen, presenting my bank statements, Dr. Lee's report, and witness statements. Ms. Chen, visibly uneasy under Rachel's scrutiny, closed the case on the spot, apologizing for the intrusion. Then came the legal onslaught. Liam and Brooke filed in Manhattan Supreme Court, seeking conservatorship over my finances, alleging urban isolation dementia and erratic spending on what they called unnecessary security measures. Their witnesses included Brooke, a neighbour named Paul who'd complained about my book club's lively discussions spilling into the hall, and my pharmacist, Mr. Khan, tricked into signing a statement about unusual purchases of over-the-counter items. Rachel and I mounted a robust defence. We visited Mr. Khan at his pharmacy, where he was visibly shaken, explaining Brooke had misled him with talk of health insurance updates. He signed a new affidavit clarifying my purchases were normal, occasional aspirin and vitamins, nothing more. Paul's testimony unravelled when Rachel cross-examined him. He admitted he'd never spoken to me directly, his erratic claims based solely on seeing my cameras installed by a locksmith friend. The trial began on a rainy October afternoon in 2025, just weeks before today, Sunday, October 19th, 2025, at 5:22 p.m. PKT, 7:22 a.m. EST. I wore my lavender blouse, the one meant for the reunion, its soft fabric a quiet defiance, and walked into the courthouse with Rachel by my side. The air smelled of wet pavement and determination. Liam and Brooke sat across the aisle, Liam in a tailored grey jacket, Brooke in a sleek black dress, their faces a mask of feigned concern. Their lawyer, Mr. Sullivan, painted me as a lonely retiree swayed by new friends, suggesting my book club was a cult-like influence. Brooke took the stand first, tears streaming as she claimed I'd withdrawn from family and abandoned my role. Rachel dismantled her with precision. "When did you last visit Pat without asking for money?" Brooke faltered, her voice cracking. "It's been hectic with auditions." Rachel pressed further. "Was Pat invited to the reunion you called selective?" Brooke's silence hung heavy, a damning admission. Liam's testimony was a painful echo. "My mum's always been generous, but she's unstable now," he insisted, his eyes avoiding mine. Rachel countered with a steady cadence. "Is $22,000 over 3 years generous? How often did you visit without a financial request?" Liam shifted uncomfortably, unable to respond. Our witnesses were a fortress. Mr. Khan explained the deception with a shaky but honest voice. Dr. Lee presented my flawless psychological evaluation with charts and notes, and Margaret, Clara, Susan and Joan testified to my vibrancy. Our book discussions on Jane Austen, my new memoir project about library life, the laughter over tea. I took the stand last, my voice clear and resonant. I gave them $22,000, my husband's savings, my 401k, to support their dreams. But when they excluded me from Liam's reunion, calling me not special, I saw the truth. I was their bank account, not their mother. I stopped the money because I deserved dignity, not manipulation. Judge Martinez, a woman known for her fierce advocacy for seniors, deliberated for 2 hours as rain tapped against the courtroom windows. Her ruling, delivered with a steady gaze, was unequivocal. Mrs. O'Connor is fully competent. The plaintiff's case is motivated by financial interest, not genuine care. Conservatorship is denied, and I caution against further harassment. Relief flooded me, a warm tide washing away months of tension. Rachel squeezed my hand, her smile a quiet triumph. Across the room, Brooke's face tightened into a scowl. Liam looked away, perhaps with a flicker of guilt, but it was far too late for amends. That night, Margaret hosted a celebration at her brownstone, the rooms filled with the scent of rosemary bread and the sound of clinking wine glasses. My book club friends toasted to Pat's triumph, their voices a chorus of support. Susan, who'd once cut off her freeloading sister, leaned in with a knowing nod. "You didn't just win a case, you won your story back, Pat." That's the real victory. Her words sank deep, resonating with a truth I'd only begun to embrace. We laughed over old library tales, shared plans for a group trip to the Hudson Valley, and I felt the weight of isolation lift, replaced by a newfound sisterhood. 2 months later, I sold my NYC apartment, the sale a bittersweet farewell to a life of giving without return. With the proceeds, I bought a cozy cottage upstate in Hudson Valley, its wraparound porch overlooking rolling hills and a small creek. I donated half my savings to a literacy charity, a nod to my library roots, keeping the rest to fund my own dreams. I wrote memoirs each morning, the click of my typewriter a rhythmic comfort, joined a local theatre group to explore my creative side, and volunteered at community libraries, reading to children with the same passion I'd once had. Liam and Brooke, rumours drifted back. They'd downsized to a cramped studio in Queens, Brooke picking up waitressing shifts between auditions. Perhaps they'd learn what my unconditional love couldn't teach: the intrinsic value of earning their own way. Some evenings, on my cottage porch as the autumn leaves rustled and the sun dipped below the horizon, I reflect on the woman I was, giving tirelessly, hoping for a bond that slipped through my fingers like sand. That woman, with her quiet sacrifices and unspoken expectations, is gone. In her place stands Pat, 71, who knows love isn't a transaction scribbled on a check, but a mutual exchange earned through respect. The wind carries the scent of pine, a gentle reminder of renewal, and I feel a peace I hadn't known before. If my story stirs your heart, share your thoughts. What would you do in my place? If it inspires you, support me to weave more tales. Until next time, with warmth and gratitude, Pat.